Hey everyone. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the latest community post from the dev team of how they will now be making tank the priority. Yes, you heard me. Now, now is the time to make tank the priority. My first reaction to this was probably the reaction many of you guys probably had, where I was like, what the hell was their priority before? Like seriously, this was the biggest change from Overwatch 1 to Overwatch 2, and how was that not made the priority like from the beginning? I would imagine with such a drastic change for the game that half of the balance team should have been just entirely focused on tank alone. It's kind of crazy if you think about it. So first, they are acknowledging that it's been a bit miserable playing tank, and I can agree. A lot of you guys know that I'm kind of playing more DPS now. At least that's what I've been saying. But I still post my DPS videos because I guess I started this channel with a bunch of Doomfist stuff, so I kind of want to stay true to that. But I might change it up a bit. And they say that it's been miserable since the end of season 8. Again, guys, I don't know why they're always late to everything, but it's been bad since launch. Like every year there was like, especially at the end of the year, both Decembers we went through, every end of the year there's like a very horrible meta that we're stuck in while everybody goes off to break, rightfully so, and we just kind of have to deal with it for a while. First time it was Mauga and Orisa. No, not Mauga and Orisa. It was Hog and Orisa, where they were really the only two tanks you could play in the game. Like, you really couldn't do anything else. And then after that was what we just had a few months ago, or I guess like several months ago now, where it was Mauga. They then move on to talk about role passives and how they aim to do more things that are kind of directed at the specific character they're trying to, buff or nerf, instead of doing the whole global passive thing. And I say, good, finally. But also I say, duh. Like, again, I don't understand why they're always late to the party, but their own party. But yeah, passives have gone crazy. I think everybody agrees that passives, these across the board changes, have generally not been. Maybe we should go through. We need to go through the ones that are actually good and the ones that were not good, or the ones that were kind of forced on us because of other bad things. But as you guys know, I've been against role passives from the very beginning. A game like Overwatch cannot just have global changes and spread across characters without any drawbacks. Right? Like, they made a very unique game with very unique characters, and they need to accept that that's what the game is, and that's kind of the only way to fix and fix, buff, and nerf things. But yeah, to go through each of the passives that we've had so far, I do think that the universal healing when out of combat for all characters was a really good one. I think that one was extraordinary. I was against it at first, so maybe I might be eating crow again in the future, but I think this one was great for everybody overall. Benefits more flankers and more mobile characters like Doomfist, but I think it's good. The headshot change to tanks, I'm not a big fan of because I don't really like the idea of punishing people who are skilled enough to shoot someone in the head. And I do think that you should be rewarded for being able to pull something like that off, but at the same time, I don't really think it's making that much of a difference, if I'm being honest. And maybe they have their stats, maybe they're seeing things that we're not seeing. But if I'm being honest, I don't really think that affected too much. But who knows? So what they did for easier aiming is fine in my opinion. Increasing everyone's HP and making it easier to aim is an option they chose to do instead of just reducing everybody's HP, because they said that people don't like to see nerfs, so they are kind of afraid of the community's reaction whenever they nerf something, so they kind of went the roundabout way to kind of do the same thing. So it's fine, and I imagine people have more fun actually like hitting their shots, so I think that's overall a good change. But things like the tank passive reducing CC, I think should be removed. I think the only tank in the game that should have this passive is Reinhardt. It doesn't make sense for characters like Orisa to have it when she already feels like you're playing against a wall when you're playing against her. Like, a lot of people don't benefit from it like much at all. Like people like Sigma, who doesn't really move, right? He just kind of pokes from the back. He has this extra layer of protection for something he doesn't really engage in. But I do see why it was given in the first place, and that's because of another negative, right? Is one of the reasons, we have things like this is because there's so much CC that has crept back into the game, which is really annoying because that was their whole MO when launching Overwatch 2, that they say they wanted less CC, and now we have so much CC back. So it's like they're doing something I don't like because of something else that I don't like, but it's kind of a band-aid for that bad thing. So it's just like two bad things on top of each other to try to cancel each other out. So yeah, that's where we are at this point, and probably how we're going to continue down the line. It's really like they set up all these rules for themselves and these ideologies of how they want to do things, and then they just can't follow it. So why even say it to begin with? Well, at least it gives us some hope, right? And hope is better, even if it doesn't always come. Next, they mentioned the damage roll passive. And honestly, as far as passives go, I think this did really help bring down the feeling of so much healing. Because before we had this big change, the game was kind of stuck in a state where you either explode immediately or everybody's just impossible to kill because there's so much healing and so much damage. So what they did was kind of bring it all back to the middle a little bit. But again, I'm still against passives in general, but this kind of like the CC thing for tanks was necessary because there was so much healing. And that's because of when we switched over to 5v5, they wanted to do all this stuff for support characters because everybody was so upset for so long. So again, they're doing something that I don't think should exist because of something bad that they did in the past. So again, it's like two bad things make a right, kind of. The way I've described this is it really feels like things are just kind of duct taped together. Like I don't see what the idea. It's like a bunch of things just being tried, like experiments here and there, and this kind of works, and we patch this in with this, and we have to kind of Frankenstein our thoughts of how the game should work like this, and then it just kind of continues. But I still enjoy the game. So they mentioned things like Ryan getting more HP in his shield so that you actually feel safe from behind his shield. And I mean, like, I guess, but that's not what the problem with Ryan is, right? And I wouldn't really like to see shields get buffed kind of overall because nobody really likes just shooting at shields. And, nobody likes doing that. The problem with Ryan is that he is literally the only tank that can only do one thing at a time. The defining abilities of a tank, if you guys have seen my character analysis videos, which I think I want to bring back, is that they can CC, prevent damage, and increase their health. Tied into, doing multiple of these at the same time or along with attacking. Ryan has no way of increasing his health at all, right? And he has a super high risk, high reward CC with his charge. And his only way for preventing damage is his shield. So either way, he can't prevent damage and attack at the same time, like literally every other tank in the game. Saber can put up his shield and attack from behind it, and Zara can put up her bubble and attack from within her bubble. When Doomfist attacks, he moves so fast that it prevents damage. He's just moving too fast. But at the same time, he's doing damage and building up his HP all at the same time. So Doomfist does all three at the same time, which we talked about that a lot in previous videos. So yeah, Ryan can attack or prevent damage, and that's it, right? But he also has like no mobility, and honestly, almost no CC outside of his ultimate. And before it was completely garbage, but they just nerfed Kiriko, so now she won't be Suzuing people out of his ultimate anymore. But yeah, he can't multitask. Characters like Mauga have the opposite problem of Reinhardt, where they just never have any downtime. He's always attacking and healing nonstop, which is why everyone hates him. I don't even think tanks need a buff like that. Like, the worst part is just the tank rotations, like kind of in two parts, right? the first part of the tank rotation sucking is that it exists, right? So it's just like, oh, this person's playing this, so I guess I gotta change to this, and then now they switch to this, I gotta play this. So you can't play the characters you want to play is, for me, the big one, right? Somebody has an Orisa, I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess I gotta play Zarya now. This is gonna suck. And it goes into the second problem with it. The characters in rotation, a lot of people don't like to play, or people don't like their gameplay style, right? Right now, it's Orisa, Mauga, Hog, and you see that a lot, and you're forced to switch around, and it's just, I think it was like, if it was more regular characters, like, I don't like to play Zarya, but if it was Zarya, Ryan, and I don't know, Ramatra or something, I think people would be much more okay with it. I think even just the original characters, people would be much more okay with that rotation than Orisa, Hog, and Mauga, because they just prevent you from playing the game, right? They're just designed in a very weird way where they do everything. So it's twofold: the fact that it exists, and then the characters that exist within that realm of rotations. So yeah, I personally don't like playing Zarya. I don't really like playing Orisa either. I used to like playing Orisa, but I think I was forced to play her so much, I was like, this is boring. But yeah, okay, and yeah, so again, I don't think tanks need buffs. I don't think they should be killing things left and right and be doing damage. Their job is to make space, and I think right now that is kind of what they do, but it's just miserable because of the rotation thing that I said earlier. And yeah, so I think that's a very brief summary. Well, no, that's like a decent summary of everything they spoke about. Let me know what you think in the comments, whether they think I'm dumb or you think I'm right, or just to help me out with the algorithm. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and also don't forget, I love you. Also, everyone, guess what? I wrote a book. It's a high fantasy young adult adventure based off of African mythology called Konfaga, Roots of a Very Old Tree. So if you like your grandiose adventure stories with an overarching mystery to be solved and theorized around, like Dark Souls or One Piece, I think you'll have fun with this one. So yeah, here's an ad for the book. Konfaga, Roots of a Very Old Tree, a high fantasy young adult book with a modern take on African mythology. After a mysterious confrontation with his father at school, Marcus Jobda finds himself in the land of Kara. With a small band of determined adventurers and a robust magic system he must quickly learn, Marcus begins his search for his family, a way home, and simultaneously tries to discover the mystery of the disappearances. From escaping Mamiwara and preventing wars between kingdoms, he'll need every edge his wits can give him to see the next day. However, the more he learns, the less things appear as they seem. But does he really want to go back to his old life? With hundreds of illustrations filled with clues of the history of the world, join Marcus as he attempts to solve this mystery. Konfaga, Roots of a Very Old Tree is available now on Amazon. Link in the description.